I'm not asking for leniency. I ask only for a minute of spared silence, to set down the order of my thoughts before my heart fully submits to another cadence. If what I confess strikes you as an elaborate absurdity, so be it. Absurdities are committed more readily than crimes, and crimes only carry absurdity to its bitter end. The house on the Solney Canal I inherited last winter from my Uncle Anselm, a clockmaker, known in our city for patient precision and merciless thrift. His shop is low, with dusty glass panes. Behind them, rows of dials like empty white faces. The smell is heavy, machine oil, green patina, the sweet suffocation of old fabric. On the inside of the door hung a plaque, "Do not touch the regulator," with an arrow pointing to the corner, where stood a massive black wooden cabinet, sealed like a sarcophagus, no seams, a tight little door on 2 filed-down screws, and a narrow bronze plate tucked into shadow. I moved into the upstairs room, cold, with 2 windows overlooking the iron railing and the canal water. With me, Lydia, my wife, 24 years old, her breathing since childhood so light that, when she slept, I thought it was something inside me gently rising and falling. Lydia feared the dampness of the canal. Lydia feared the clocks. "They whisper," she would say, covering her ears with her palms, like someone walking back and forth along the wall. I laughed at her petty unease, as people laugh at cats that see shadows. I laughed, then. At first, the ticking of the shop seemed a blessed background. But blessings exhaust. I noticed, not one of the 38 clocks on the wall agreed with another. Here, a sharp tick, like a knife. There, a lazy talk, like rain. Between them, gaps. Evenings under the lamp, I'd sit and feel my eye twitch, like a bobbing float in rough water, from the discord. Clocks meant to bring order sounded like a hive where every bee worked for itself. The paradox, it maddened me. Of course, I took up the keys. I brought them forward like orphans at a feast, the most neglected first. I tightened anchor forks, cleaned jewels, rinsed pocket pieces in a coffee saucer. When I wound the first 6 and lined them up, a chill and sweet tremor ran through me. The tremor of mastery. 6 ticks, equal. That very night Lydia came down pale and weakened, her fingers like candles, and whispered, "It's hard to breathe." Upstairs, her chest rustled like paper. The doctor came at dawn, frowned, muttered catarrh and camphor oil, and took his coins with the same precision. What followed, pardon me, was a sequence I now understand as guilt, but then called facts. Each time I set a row, ticking in unison, Lydia's breath grew heavy. Each time I stopped them, she eased. I smirked at myself, the way one smirks grimly at gum stuck under every table. But in my notebook, I had begun one, not as a scholar but as a desperate man. Lines appeared. Day 1, wound. 6. Lydia complains of heaviness. Evening, stopped them. Relief. Day 2, wound 4, more, night cough. Day 3, none, quieter. Day 4, 5 more, whistling on the exhale. Coincidences like to repeat. Repetitions beg for reason. I summoned Anselm's old apprentice, Pfeiffer. His years hung on him like a spring drawn tight. He shuffled in, nodded with well-worn motions, but did not look at the regulator at all. "If Anselm said not to touch it," he told me, "don't touch it." "Why?" "There's breath in there." "Whose?" He said nothing, wiped his greasy hand on his trousers, and left. By day I lingered in the shop, by night beside Lydia. I resisted admitting the world was a set of connected vessels, these clocks and her lungs. I silenced 28, leaving only the great coffin-like regulator and a handful of repair pieces. Then, truthfully, Lydia had a whole week of laughter at the window, feeding pigeons crumbs, while I below listened to a single sound, steady, taut as a thread, the regulator's beat. It ticked not loudly, but unfailingly, as if it were the heart of something without a body. You'll ask, Why not leave it be? Why not toss the clocks into a shed? Why not smash them? Ah, but have you never tasted the sweetness of symmetry? Fire burns faster when the branches are laid evenly. Something in the chorus of gears wanted completion. I lied to myself. If I align them all, everyone, and then wind the regulator, Lydia will wake from this order. Debts are never erased piece by piece, but balanced all at once. I wrote in my book, tact for tact, take, return. That was me, not Anselm. He later confirmed it on a single dry slip of paper. The slip I found cleaning his desk. His hand had written, alignment of 4 walls. Inhaler, returns the remainder. Beneath it, a childish drawing. A room, arrows to the center, inhaler. What else could you call a great black box that forces everything around it to obey? I aligned 5, then 7, then all but the regulator. By then, Lydia breathed in short gasps, perched on the bed like a bird on a pail, ready to spring without the strength to rise. I knelt before her. One more, and it's done, I said. She turned her eyes away. Some women can turn their eyes like shutters closing. I rose and went down. The regulator's door wasn't locked. It was defended by philosophy. 2 screws, heads filed flat, like nails in a coffin. I pried with a knife. Wood throbbed warm. Breath, I remembered Pfeiffer's word and smiled bitterly. I took a hammer. With each blow, it yielded not wood, but air. At last I worked the screws out with a file, like a surgeon on bone. When the door gave, like a black wing, the sound changed. Tick was no longer coin, but whisper, as though speech was spliced between tick and talk. I pulled the door wide. Inside, no dial, no hands. Instead, a vast bronze nozzle, toothless like a mouth. Around it, 4 bellows like lungs, and tubing fine as veins. In the nozzle's slot, a keyhole shaped not for metal, but for breath. Beneath, a glass drop like a tear. In it, something white stirred, vaporous, like milk. On the back wall, a plaque, crusted in salt. Silence, before you turn. I did not believe. Against disgust, against conscience, I placed my palm on the nozzle's lip. Cold stung like a wasp. The air wasn't empty. It pulled inward. What was taken evenly. I closed the door. The sound went hollow. Opened. It had an organ. Logic replaced feeling. If I give, it will give back. I ran upstairs. Lydia lay quiet, face wearing that expression the ignorant call beautiful death. Because it is not death yet. A neighbor woman, our kind neighbors, when others suffer, held her hand, whispering nothings. Pfeiffer stood in the corner, staring at the baseboard. I sat on the bed. We need silence, I told them. Lydia smiled, not from joy, but to spare me weeping. I carried her down. She weighed nothing. Her skin smelled of milk, like a child who would never be. I set her on a chair before the regulator. Now, I said. I opened the door. Whisper became presence. Just a moment more, I whispered. I pressed her face to the nozzle. Forgive me, I was monstrous. She drew inward. Regulator hummed low, like a beast at warm water. She tried another breath. The air went into the nozzle. I held her skull like a mechanic holds a fragile cog. Just a moment more. 2 short breaths. A third dragging one. Her eyes widened till I saw my entire childhood in them. I slammed the door. Regulator droned, filling the room with even sound. Her body sagged. I shook her. I pressed my ear. Silence. Take. Return. Pulsed in my head. I bent to the nozzle. It pulled. Pfeiffer covered his mouth. Does it return? I asked. He shook his head. I struck the bronze, like a man beats a locked door in fire. Useless. It had taken. It would not return. Then, the shop marched in step. All the clocks aligned, striking not tick-tock, but the endless tramp of black boots. The floor trembled. I smashed glass, ripped gears, tore springs. The order only thickened. The regulator drank inward like a well throat. I saw then, this was never mine. I had built a bridge for something else to cross. I stopped. Lydia was heavy as wet flour in my arms. Evening came. The canal exhaled damp. I wrote in my notebook, "Concord is the killer," and I stopped writing. Morning brought the police. The neighbor had called them. Pfeiffer sat mute. The constable touched the nozzle and jerked back. Cold. They sealed it. Now, silence. Only one tick remains. Me. My voice is its voice. My thought, its beat. This paper lies on the desk. Pfeiffer will bring it to the police. They'll shelve it in an archive. And in that house, too, there will be a regulator. Of the city. Of time. Do not seek justification. Do not seek explanation. Take a knife and cut the plaque from any door that says "Do not touch," and walk away. I did not, and I am punished. When the dark shop, glassless, filled with gutted dials, breathes at night, I think I hear Anselm's words scrape up from the stage where everything becomes even. Silence before you turn. I am silent. Do you hear it? The beat. It goes on. It will not stop until it takes the last of me. I feel the final minute pressing at my throat. Round, like a seal, like a tear. Soon it will roll into the slot. The page will be blank. My tongue too. What remains will be only the even sound. If you made it all the way to the end, then you're exactly the kind of person I'm looking for. Hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. I hope I can keep bringing you more stories, to make you smile, or maybe, to scare you.